Howdy, welcome to today's show. Welcome to Advocate Information Highway. I'm your host, Anthony Lorito-Duke, and we have a very interesting and very important topic for today's show, in which we'll be talking about socialism and the upcoming New York City elections this coming November. So let's get right into this. I want to take the first part first. Socialism. Socialism does not work. Okay? It has been proven time and time and time again, multiple times, even in other countries like the United Kingdom. Socialism does not work. Okay? Point blank, it does not work. Now, with that being said, uh, with the upcoming elections in New York City, okay, including New York City mayor elections. That's coming up this coming November. Okay. You got a bunch of dingbats of this generation, not my generation, not the generation before me, this generation who want change. I get it. I get it. But socialism is not the right answer either. It's not. It's been proven time and time again it does not work. It doesn't. Okay? And um seriously, like I said, socialism, it does not work. It's been proven time and time again. It does not work. It's like in the part of the proof, one piece of the proof, the United Kingdom, it has been proven time and time again because they got socialism there in many of their cities. Okay? It has been proven time and time again socialism does not work. We cannot allow socialism to take place, especially in New York City. We cannot have a socialist. Now, speaking of Mamdani, who is a socialist, people are saying, well, he's ahead in the polls, the polls, the polls. Oh, he's way ahead in the polls. Let me break this down for you, ladies and gentlemen, for the people who don't get it up here. Polls are not elections. Polls are just people from certain companies. They go to random spots, then they pick random people off the street, and then they ask them a bunch of questions like, "What do you feel about this candidate? What are you going to vote for this candidate?" And a lot of people turn around and say, "Oh no, I'm not. I'm just going to vote for this such and such a person, or I don't like this other person." They could say all they want. That doesn't even mean that they're going to go to the polls and vote. Okay. So all these polls that say that Mamdani is way in the head, it does not hold any weight, really. It does not hold any weight. Does it mean that the other candidates need to recognize certain topics? Absolutely. Yes. Now, getting back to Mamdani, Mamdani has said it time and time and time and time again that if elected mayor, he will defund the police. He's against the police. He's against the police. He also said, Mamdani said time and time again, he's also proven he is against Jewish people and he's also against the Italian people. Okay? You cannot have these things. New York City cannot afford to have a person like this in office. Can't. Bottom line, can't. Okay? To vote in New York City elections, even in New York State, which that would be next year, to vote in New York City elections, the rules have changed a bit. Okay. The new thing is immigrants are not allowed to vote in New York City elections. They're not allowed to vote. Can't have a green card or anything else. Yeah. Done. You can't do it. Okay. To vote in New York City and New York State elections, you have to prove. You have to prove you are a full-blown United States citizen. Full-blown United States citizen. No nothing else. No nothing else. That's it. That's number one. Number two, you gotta prove that you are also a New York City resident. Number three, you gotta prove that you are of at least 18 years of age or older to vote in New York City elections. And you also have to prove other things as well. The list goes on and on and on. You have to prove it. Which to me, that's a great thing. That's a great thing. I've said it so many times, and even in prior episodes. I'm all for. I'm all for showing ID in order to vote. I'm all for it. You gotta show. You gotta have ID to drive a vehicle. You gotta have ID to buy cigarettes. You gotta have ID to buy alcohol. A lot of people don't like that. Well, too bad. Tough. We need to have these strict rules and regulations in place, and they need to be enforced. Bottom line, it has to be done. There is no other choice. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, also, Mamdani is against rich people. I almost forgot to mention that. He's completely against rich people. You can't be like that, especially to running a very big populous city. Okay? Honestly. Now, the people of today's society, they're the ones that are free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. Can't be like that. Look what they did in time. Look what the Muslim people did in Times Square. They're doing their religion in the middle of freaking Times Square. It does not belong there. You don't do that. You keep your religion in religious places of worship. You want to have your religion? Fine. Keep it in your own personal place of worship. End of story. End of story. Look what they did in Penn Station. All these young people, they crowded up. They bombarded Penn Station. Free Palestine, free Palestine. Blah, 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 blah. You can't be acting like that. You can't have all this anarchy. Look what these people did in the last presidential election. These free Palestine people, free Palestine, they destroyed a United States federal government blue mailbox that had ballots in it. They destroyed it. What else did they do? In New York City, these free Palestine, they took over a building, held hostages inside, had banners, a Palestine flag, everything else. But you don't do things like that. You don't do that. You don't do that. Bottom line. And if Mamdani gets into office, if he becomes the next mayor of New York City, New York will be completely destroyed. Destroyed. Honestly, destroyed. Now, my own personal opinion, Cuomo is the only one strong enough to stand up to Trump. People are saying, "Oh no, Mamdani is strong. He'll stand up to Trump." Baloney. Trump will chew him bite them, chew them up, and spit them out. The Trump and the GOP, they want Mamdani in office because they know that will be the end of New York if Mamdani gets into office. Trump and the GOP know that if Mamdani gets into office, that will be the end of the Democratic Party. Okay? Seriously. Now, in my own personal opinion, Cuomo is the only one strong enough, or powerful enough to stand up to Trump. Trump does, and the GOP, they don't want Cuomo in office because he's the only one really strong enough, powerful enough to stand up to Trump and the GOP. And he's already proven that because during the time when COVID happened, happened big time, Cuomo stood up to Trump and the GOP, and guess what? Cuomo won. Cuomo won that battle. Mamdani has told his dingbat people that he will, if he gets into office, he will have the rent free for 4 years. Baloney! He can't do that. The mayor of New York City does not have the power and the authority to do that. The only people that have the power and the authority to do that are the rental board members. They're the only ones who make up that law. And the mayor of New York City has no power and authority over those people. So Mamdani BS'd a lot of people, and they fell for it. They were falling for it. He can't do it. He does not have the power and the authority to do that. No New York City mayor has ever had the power and the authority above the rental boards. Point blank. So he BS'd people, Mamdani, I'm talking about. Now, do we have a housing crisis? Of course, that's throughout the United States. New York City has a housing crisis, and Cuomo is the only one, in my own personal opinion, to deal with that. Why? Because one of Cuomo's specialties is that he builds things. He builds and builds and builds. And that's what people need. That's what people need. Okay? And that's to fix the housing crisis, really, in all honesty. Now, Cuomo could really talk to the other powers that be to really talk about the rents in New York City. And he has a lot of powerful people that could help with that. Seriously. Would he do that as New York City mayor? Would Cuomo do that? Absolutely. He'll help with that. He'll help with that. But he does not have the final word. Only the rental boards. The people on the rental boards have the power and the authority to do that because that they control that, not the New York City mayor. End of story. Now, this Mamdani cannot be allowed to be the next mayor of New York City. He can't. He can't be allowed, really. And is there a good chance that Cuomo can beat him? Yeah, there's still that good chance. There's still that good chance. Absolutely. Absolutely. Among registered voters. Among registered voters, people who are allowed to vote in New York City elections. And I just told you a good chunk of that, the list of people who are allowed now to vote in New York City elections. And the rules have changed a bit. I told you that. I already explained that. So that, again, it's a good chance that Cuomo can still win in November. So, and anyways, I want to remind all my fans out there about my website, Advocate Information Highway. The link to there is AIHNY.com. Again, that's AIHNY.com. And you guys could check out all the pages on there. And so with that, take care, everybody. Bye.